Okay, so I want to welcome everyone to this exclusive webinar. Not a webinar, but a Google Hangout. This is actually the first time that I'm doing a Google Hangout. So if something works kind of weird, if you don't see something, just let me know. We will try to fix this as soon as possible. You gotta, it's like you're never too old to learn something. You're never too good to learn something. So Google Hangout is pretty big thing. So we decided that it's really exciting that we can communicate with you guys like this, that you can see our faces, our screen shares, everything. So that's why we chose it. Now I have the Igor Kheifets here today with me. Like I've said, his schedule is just overwhelmed. He's too busy, living the lifestyle, the internet marketing lifestyle, because he made a lot of money online, and actually he is the guy that literally he's responsible for my success, because he taken me from making just peanut money to making okay money and then making great money on the internet.
Okay, so I want to welcome everyone to this exclusive webinar.
Wait a second. Okay, so just a little technical difficulties. Now, I want to introduce him, and basically, he is probably one of the best copywriters that I know around on the block. And if I need an advice from him, about the copywriting, if I need any advice how to ramp up my, my conversions for the emails, my conversions for the squeeze pages, pretty much how to ramp up my business without doing anything a lot. So he is always the guy that I'm contacting him first. Now today, you can see the title of the webinar that says, or the hangout that says, 9 deadly copywriting sins that can kill your profits. So that was the original idea, that we wanted to talk about, the sales page copywriting. We wanted to talk about, those things. But then we decided that it may be a little bit boring, because, of course we can talk hours and hours how we can increase your sales page conversions. But then we thought that we will make this really exciting. We will make something, this hangout, something that you can take, all the information that you learned today and actually apply to your business and see the results. Now, this webinar is going to be, it's going to be pitch free. You won't see any buy now buttons. You won't see any, sliding order forms or anything like that. So if you will see any buy now buttons, if you are going to get pitched, I'm going to PayPal you $1,000 this evening. So that's my promise. And if you will stay until the end of this hangout, you're going to get even free presents. So, I'm just giving the microphone to Igor Kheifets, and, let's, welcome him.
All right, Emka, thank you very much. Very excited to be here, especially knowing that the people are going to be listening to this recording, or if you're joining us live, going to be taking action on this, since you guys have invested into Funnel Kit, which is really, one of the most robust funnel builders I've seen so far in our industry, that's constantly evolving, and you just, you can barely keep up with it. So anyhow, like Emka said, the original title of the webinar, the original topic of the webinar was the 9 deadly copy sins. However, we realized that you may not be at the point in your life or business where you can benefit from that webinar to an extent that we wanted you to. You see, copywriting is a never-ending journey, which is kind of like, you make a commitment to become a lifelong student of that thing. And eventually you become, better and better and better, but you never stop learning. Like Emka said, he constantly tries to improve himself. So what we decided to make this webinar about is really how to help you ramp up your opt-ins, ramp up your CDR, which stands for email click-through rate, ASAP, so you guys can start making more money. So this is exactly what we're going to be focusing on this Google Hangout today. And this is pretty much what I've been working on for the last few hours, on my presentation. So right up front, I want to tell you that I'm in a coffee shop that I work in, living the list building lifestyle, so to speak. So you may hear noises of music and people, chatting around. Don't mind that. And another thing is that this is the very first time I've ever used the Google Hangout. So I'm going to do my best to not screw things up, okay? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to try and share my screen, which...
Just make sure before you share the screen, just make sure that you're opening in a different, in different window or a different tab, so that we don't get this, endless, endless tunnel of screens, okay?
Okay. Hopefully I'm doing this right.
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna turn you on. So we're both newbies here. Just trying to.
Okay. Does it look right to you?
Yep, we have your presentation.
Awesome, cool. So you can see my fancy cartoonish face and the big headline. So basically, just like it says, we're going to talk about the little-known email marketing techniques that get the click and sale. Because at the end of the day, this is why we build lists, right? We want to get the click, we want to get the sale, we want to get paid. So, in addition to that, of course, I'm also gonna share my copy and paste techniques to crafting killer squeeze pages, as well as walk you through some of the specific examples and case studies, which you will be able to revisit even after this presentation is over. So, for easy reference and to better your game. And just as a reminder, this is exclusive content, exclusive training, content-rich training, pitch-free training, just for you guys. So nobody else is getting this sort of thing. So before we start, even though Emka gave you the massive introduction, really hyped me up, as they say. Still, I want to explain to you why am I qualified to give you such advice. Well, for one, I've been successfully building high-quality lists with paid and free traffic ever since 2010, which to date makes it almost 4 years. Now, ever since I started, I've also trained 49 real people to a full-time online income of 3 grand or more with list building, including your host, Mr. Emka. As well as I buy anywhere from 10 to 20 grand worth of paid traffic every single month, both from media buys, solo ads, Facebook ads, you name it. Okay, I pretty much try to test everything, period. And therefore, the advice I'm going to be giving you today is going to be based on scientific research, not on theory. This is not going to be another case of the blind leading the blind. And so you can be rest assured that what you're getting here is proven advice that you can implement and get some results with. So, on this hangout, in addition to doing the Q&A in the end of the call, of course, so any questions you might have, just write them down and we're going to attend to them at the end of the call. You're going to master the art and science of converting traffic into a whole lot of opt-ins. Okay, you're going to learn my scientific principles to writing killer email swipes to get the click and the sales you need. You're also gonna get my top confidential email swipe file that contains 11 of my top performing email subject lines and detailed breakdown of exactly why each and every one of these subject lines work, the psychological triggers behind these, so you can, replicate my results and my success in an intelligent, smart way. Now, you're also going to discover my simple copywriting techniques to writing high converting squeeze page headlines, as well as my very cool technique in creating congruent design that can up your conversions by as much as 15%. And of course, last but not least, you are going to unearth my simple 5-step email checklist that you can use before each and every email, promotion that you do in order to increase your open rates. It says opt-in rates, but it should say open rates by as much as 120%. Like I said, guys, just a quick reminder, the Q&A will be once I'm done with the presentation. Therefore, please write down your questions and post them when the time is right.
Yeah, guys, we will have a Q&A at the end of this, like Igor said. I forgot to mention this actually. And I will post in the Facebook, I will post a new subject in our group where you can ask questions. So the Q&A is probably going to be around 20 minutes. Because, like I said, Igor is just too busy, living the lifestyle. So make sure that you come up with the really good questions. Don't forget to ask them. Just write them down, and we will try to answer them all. So, yeah, microphone's all yours.
All right, so I want to start off with a very uncomfortable statement, uncomfortable truth, if you will, inconvenient truth, as Al Gore would probably put it, and that is there is no such thing as bad traffic. There's only unattractive offers. Now, the reason I say that, okay, is only because it is true. You see, there is a buyer for every traffic source, or an offer for every traffic source, and a traffic source for every offer. Therefore, whenever you buy advertising, whenever you invest in advertising or get free advertising, in final clicks and traffic onto your offers, and it doesn't convert, as a rule, the responsibility to make it happen is on you. That's the philosophy that I learned to embrace in my business after a couple of years of of trial and error, and that's the philosophy that I try to convey to my clients and students and friends who work with me, because unless you take responsibility for converting the traffic you purchase, for converting the clicks you buy, you will not get ahead with list building. That's just the simple truth of this industry. Now, obviously, there are some misconceptions. There's some exceptions, I meant to say, and there is crappy traffic. The sort of traffic like that you get on Safe Lists and Fiverr, right? When they tell you, I'm gonna blast your offer to 50,000 people for $5. That is an obvious scam, or that's just crap. However, most of the time, it's you who has to take responsibility for converting the traffic, and if it doesn't happen, that means you got to revisit your offers and tweak them accordingly. So before we delve into the specific strategies, I just want to kind of go over some of the specific metrics, the key metrics, if you will, that you need to remember. Okay, because you cannot improve something you can't measure. In fact, I'll share a little secret of mine that I discovered about 3 years ago. Just by measuring your results, just by measuring them, not even doing anything specifically to increase them, just by measuring your results, you will improve them. This is a natural thing. You can check it in, it is universal across business, sports, politics, you name it. So a couple of key metrics. Cost per click, which usually goes between 40 cents a click and $1.20 a click, depending on the quality of the click you're getting. Cost per lead, which is something you should be aiming for to keep it either equal or under $1. Your opt-in rate, which is around 30% or 25% industry standard. A lot of people get way less than that, but those who know how to convert traffic, they usually get 40 plus. And CTR, which stands for click-through rate, which means what sort of percentage of the people that have opened your email actually clicked on that link. Okay, so these are the metrics that I'm going to help you improve on this specific Google Hangout.
Igor, can I ask a question quickly? Because
Sure.
I think everyone has got this question, and I'm just going to go up ahead, on the Q&A. So I wanted to ask why CPC varies so much on different, on solo ad vendors. Basically, one guy is selling it for 30 cents a click, other guy is selling it for $1.30 a click. I mean, why there is such a huge difference, in the traffic?
Well, that's actually a very good question, and at some point you will come to realize that not all clicks were made equal. You see, for example, when we talk about clicks of $1 a click or more, that usually means that these are highly qualified people that are likely to invest in your products. And if we're talking about traffic providers that would sell you clicks at as low as 25 or 30 cents a click, this usually means that these guys don't know how to make money with their list in the first place, probably get the traffic for free or from some sort of low quality traffic source, and they're just looking for a quick way to monetize it. Because with the rise of the solo ad industry, which obviously me and UMCO are partially responsible for, um, we've seen a lot of fly-by-night sellers who are just there to take advantage of your, of your money and kind of get into your wallet. I mean, I've personally been scammed for over 5 grand over the course of last year, by sellers who would just take my money and run, or sellers who would just take my money and send me some sort of crappy clicks that would bounce. Just recently I purchased a solo ad for $300. I got 1,000 clicks, and I got a 12% opt-in rate on a page that usually gets me 42%, as well as highly uncommon bounce rate to the entire campaign. And to those of you guys who don't know what a bounce rate is, it's basically a person who lands, or a person or a click or a bot, something that lands on your page and then exits the page right away without even looking at it. So while the click is being registered, there's nobody actually looking at your offer, and therefore you've just wasted a lot of money. That's what a bounce is. And therefore the price will vary depending on either the quality of the list or how excited the person who owns the list is to sell clicks, because oftentimes, it doesn't make sense for me to sell a solo if I can make more money by promoting my own offers, right? However, not everybody knows how to make money, and you can't always promote the same offer to the same list, every day of the week. So this is sort of like a balance game where you have to really pinpoint the lists that work best for you with your offer and simply maximize the response you get with them by getting all the traffic you can. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that pretty much answers my question very, very in-depth manner. Uh, like you said, by the way, I just wanted to add one more thing. You mentioned the bounce rates. So there are two type of bounces, guys. One bounce, like Igor said, on the website traffic, and there are bounce emails. Now, don't be mistaken by these two terms, because bounce email is something that, lands on your autoresponder, but then bounce email may be an email inbox that doesn't exist. An email inbox that is filled up. So you always want to avoid bounces, because if you got a solo ad and then you got a lot of bounce emails on your email inbox, then that means that you just got a whole bunch of fake of fake traffic.
Okay, so now that we got that settled, let's move on, because I'm really excited to share this thing with you. Now, contrary to common belief, okay, this is like one of the biggest misconceptions about squeeze pages I've ever seen, is people think that you really need to have some sort of like guru designed, scientific, supernatural squeeze page in order to get really good results. That is not true. That is not true only because 80% of your squeeze page success, of your opt-in rate success, the difference between getting 50% of the people who land on your pages to opt into your list and 20% is really in your headline. It's not in your layout, it's not in your background, it's not in how stylish your page looks. It really is in the general message you're conveying in that headline. So that is why the first thing I want to do is I want to share with you the 9 different headline formulas that you can use today, right now, in order to increase your squeeze page conversions. Okay, and let's just quickly run through these templates. So the first one is, who else wants blank? Now this is probably the most classic one and most overused one, yet it still works, which is really cool if you really nail down your benefit. So as you can tell, there's a couple of examples that I've decided to give you. For example, who else wants a 84.4% opt-in rate squeeze page, right? You probably know where I'm getting at, right? This is like the simplest way to promote Funnel Kit if you wanted to do a squeeze page to push people directly to the sales page later on. So this is all you had to do in order to promote it. Now the next thing, you got the secret of blank, right? Because people love secrets. They always think for some reason that there is somebody somewhere that's hiding that one big secret for them that's going to make them, help them get the result they're looking for. So the secret of successful podcasting, the secret of getting your home loan approved, the secret of protecting your assets in litigation, right? So basically, it's the secret of blank, and blank being achieving some sort of result. The secret of of six-pack abs and stuff like that. Now, the template number 3 is it goes like this. Here's the method that's helping blank to blank. Okay, so basically, here's a method that's helping homeowners save hundreds on insurance, or here's a method that's helping children learn to read faster, or here's a method that's helping bloggers get higher AdSense payouts. So in other words, if you're promoting, a product to cat owners about how to, I don't know, protect your cat from being eaten by a dog, here's a method that's helping cat owners keep their cats safe. Period. That's all you do. You got to identify the person you're selling to, and you got to identify the big problem they're trying to avoid. All right. Number 4, little known ways too. So we kind of go back to the same principle as we used in template number 2 about the secret. So little known ways to save on your heating bill. Little known ways to hack Google's SEO algorithm. Little known ways to lose weight quickly and safely. Right. So just little known way to achieve benefit. Template number 5, very simple as well. Get rid of problem once and for all. So get rid of unproductive work habits once and for all. Get rid of that carpet stain once and for all. Get rid of Google Hangout technical difficulties once and for all. Get rid of snow in your driveway once and for all without a shovel. So you can just stick any problem there and get away with it. Again, these are not new. Okay, I'm not claiming these to be, brand new templates to reinvent the wheel. These are not. These are classic copywriting templates that can save you any day of the week. Whether when you write emails, whether when you create squeeze page headlines, really, you can just fill in the blanks. And of course, we're going to include, with the downloads for this Hangout, I'm going to include the PDF of this presentation, so you will be able to use it as a reference when you create your next squeeze page. Imka, do you think we should go through the rest of those templates?
How many do you have them?
9.
9 of them. Well, for me, it's very interesting. But since you mentioned that you're gonna get the resource, where they can actually check it out for themselves. This is what I was asking. What I wanted to ask you, whether you're going to give it away. So, if you think that you have even more great stuff to share, then we can just skip those remaining 4, and we can go into into other stuff, because they can read it for themselves after this hangout in their PDFs, and just apply to on squeeze pages.
Okay, sounds good. Then I'm just gonna skip, and basically, like I said, guys, these are easily, they can be easily used for reference whenever you write your next headline, and you can do it in like 2 minutes. So
I just want to quickly interrupt. I just want guys, if you watched Funnel Kit pre-launch videos, then now those 20 squeeze page mistakes, and probably you remember that the thing that Igor said, that you don't really have to have a fancy, stylish looking squeeze page. You only need to get a couple of elements right. You don't need to have like 20 of different elements on your squeeze page to make it convert. You only need a couple of elements right. And if you remember, on my pre-launch videos, I was actually paying a lot of attention to the headline, and I was saying that this is the most important element. Now, if you don't find that your squeeze pages are converting, as well as you want them to convert, so make sure that you're taking a lot of notes, because headline, if you will improve that, the headline, your conversions will go up, like Igor said. It can easily go up from anywhere to 10 to 40%. And that's not 14, 40%. So this is really important, and let's see what else he has got for us.
Okay, so moving on. Now we're going to move on to the specific do this, do that tweaks that you can use to boost your opt-ins beyond your headline, right? Because like I said, headline is 80% of your success. Therefore, the rest, the remaining 20% usually lies within these 4 elements. First, keep your entire squeeze page above the fold. I can't really stress just how important this is, and I can still see the mistakes being made today. In fact, just before I was getting onto this call, I was checking on a solo client, and he was getting a solo for a page where he used a big image that pushed down his opt-in form. That is a big mistake. That's a big no-no, because a lot of people, and you'd be surprised just how many, in fact, almost like 60 or up to 80% of people that land on your page do not scroll down. So it doesn't really matter what sort of like headline you got or whatever. You're just missing out on a lot of eyeballs that can potentially input their email into your opt-in box if you keep your opt-in boxes below the fold. So you cannot underestimate of how important this is. I've discovered this back in 2010. Ever since, I haven't created even one squeeze page that did not have at least one opt-in form above the fold. Okay. Sometimes if I want to use 2 opt-in forms on a single page, and the second one needs to be below the fold, and the second one, needs to be on the page no matter what, then I will make sure it's below the fold, but there is another page below, right? So if you got 2 opt-in forms, one above the fold, and you got to stick another one, you definitely want to keep it there and not just hope that they're going to scroll down. right? So in other words, there used to be a time where there was this very popular squeeze page template. It had two columns on it, and on the right top there was an opt-in form, and then the text would go all the way down. Remember that one, Anka? I think that one of the first few templates I've ever used and we ever used. And so a lot of
Yeah.
people would use this template, and they would not have an extra opt-in form below the fold. Now, when we split tested that, we realized we were missing out on 15% extra people. Out of every 100 people, there were 15 people who would not opt in simply because we did not have that one extra call to action and opt-in form below the fold. So honestly, this cannot be underestimated under any circumstances. Now, the next thing you want to do is you only want to request email, right? You don't want to request the name unless you really have to, unless perhaps this is a customer list, right? Not just a basic opt-in list. And you most definitely do not want to request their phone number. You see, people do not like sharing information online. They don't like to give you any sort of information. In fact, a lot of people who give me a lot of money would often go and tell me they're uncomfortable sharing their PayPal email or their phone number or their Skype ID, simply because that's the nature of our universe today. People are all about privacy and protecting their own assets. So even with that in mind, I still see people using pages that request a phone number. Or sometimes I get a request for a solo ad where there's a squeeze page with a decent enough headline, but then instead of just requesting an email or even a name and email, they request the first name, the last name, the email, the phone number, and the Skype ID. I mean, this severely and dramatically reduces your potential opt-in rates. People will not fill out 5 different fields on the first encounter they get with you on a squeeze page. You can later on get that from them deeper in your funnel. Sure, maybe after they've given you some money, after they've learned to trust you a little bit, but not on the very first encounter. Big no-no. In fact, the most recent stats I got is a couple of clients who promoted an opportunity that was requesting a phone number and in order to send the person SMS confirmation code, they would get no more than 9 people out of 100 to opt in. Okay, 9 people out of 100. So for every 100 clicks they got, only 9 people got on their list. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how painfully slow it is to build your list when you're only getting 9 people out of 100, to give you their information? This is ridiculous. I mean, I can't even imagine how can you go and build a business or build a list you can mail to on daily basis or every other day if you just cannot get people to opt in. Now, another thing that we learned to be extremely effective is to split test opt-in buttons and opt-in button text, which means that a button that would say instant access would get less response or lower response than a button that would say click to continue, right? Or a button with a word, with words send me my free training now would underperform versus a button that would say free instant download, right? So these are very subtle distinctions, and they would usually only result in about up to 5 to 7% opt-in rate difference. Yet, if we're talking about 1,000 clicks that get to your squeeze page over a period of certain period of time, 7%, that's still 70 people. So that's an extra 70 people that can be getting into your funnel, and that's an extra few sales for you that you're just blatantly saying no to. And I don't feel like you should be doing that. And of course, last but not least, is something that I really wanted to share with you guys is the background congruency. So what I mean is that you got to go beyond the gimmicks. So by this time around, everyone has seen those stylish pages, right? Everyone would see those pages with an opt-in form, a shiny headline, and a red Ferrari on the background, right? Or some sort of like money just in the air and people are happy and stuff.
Or
Now these are or a beach, yeah, exactly, or a beach. So you want to go beyond the gimmicks, and you want to create a true experience for your potential client. What I mean by that is your headline and your background need to be congruent with each other, and they need to serve a certain purpose versus just slapping a background onto a page and just randomly giving it some sort of a headline that where they don't connect with each other. And let me just show you a couple of examples of the pages that really worked well for us that you can learn from, okay? So here's one, for example. This one is actually, this one didn't do as well. This one only got us 32%, and here's why. The headline says, no website, domain, or tech skills, that's okay. We have simplified internet marketing to fit your needs. However, as you can see, what we have in the background is shiny blue sky and green fields. So it doesn't necessarily connect. Therefore, we only get 32% just by getting the headline right. And again, you can see the link right here underneath it. So when you get the presentation PDF file, you will be able to visit the page and check it out on your own. Now, however, this one has really, really delivered. And the headline says, hands down, the fastest, simplest, and safest way to earn 6 figures online. Right. So the reason we decided to use a fireman that's pretty much just walks out of fire, because firemen are heroes. Right. Firemen are the people we count on when we're in danger. And therefore, when we see a fireman, we feel safer. It's like the same as, another thing I could use on this page is a doctor or a surgeon. Whenever I see a doctor, I feel safer if I'm in trouble. Therefore, the fastest, the simplest, and the safest way, the word choice is not accidental here. Next, this one's actually controversial, and we did it only to test it out. Turns out people liked it. I didn't expect for it to do so well, but we actually got almost 50% with this one. And the headline says, we're making it easier and faster than you dared dream possible to bank cash online. Right? So the dared dream possible also doesn't only relate to cash, but it also relates to how a man would dare dream about a top model appearing in his bed. Right? So you can see the money on the bed, and you can see a very sexy lady as well. So it creates, this double image, because whenever men think of success and money, there is always a woman there, whether they're wife or spouse, or whether they're a woman of their dreams or not. Still, there's always a woman that we do it for. I mean, I know for a fact that when I'm making a lot of money, the first person I tell is my wife, who I want to get praise from, simply because she's my woman, right? And when I was dead broke and I was just trying to make money online, I would pretty much, I mean, this is like, honest to God, I would dream about making a bunch of money and having women literally plastered all over me because of that. Now, this may seem shallow to you, but this is how I was thinking back in the day. I didn't know that when you start making a lot of money, your life pretty much doesn't really change, besides the fact that you don't worry about money and you're free to come and go as you please, and it's just much easier to live this way and much more fun. But there is no, hordes of women jumping onto you and wanting to make sweet love with you because you're making lots of money. Unfortunately, of course. This is a very disappointing experience. But I'm just saying, so back to the presentation. You want to create those images and connect. All right. So the next one, again, this is an example of how we got only about 30 or 35% on a page, because we didn't achieve that maximum congruency. So the headline says, 100% free, untapped way to create real wealth online without any upfront costs. Pay after you profit. So it has nothing to do with a big city. Okay. However, we then tweaked the page, and what we did, we said 100% free, how to create wealth in any economy while the rest of the world is struggling. I believe that was the headline. That got us to 45%. Right. So the same background, only a bit more congruency achieved. Bam, we got a 10% bump. Now, here's a very cool one that got us almost 50%. I believe that over time it decreased to about 45, but at first it was getting extremely high results, very close to 50. And this is basically promoting DS domination, which is an opportunity where they educate you about making money by selling dropshipping products on eBay and Amazon. It only actually launched recently, a couple of months back, so it's pretty fresh. And this is a customer that we created a squeeze page, for when they ordered a big chunk of clicks from us. And so basically all we did was just use eBay and Amazon in the background on a scale, right? Because people often, when they start a business, they want to start dropship business, they don't know which way to go, so they end up setting up on both. And just saying a legal loophole to siphon the extra monthly cash you need from eBay and Amazon. Bam! I mean, instant congruency, instant match, and you get people opting in like crazy. Now, this is a page I really like because we funneled over 5,000 clicks to this one. Okay, over 5,000 visitors have seen this page, and it consistently converted over 42% like clockwork. Okay, so anytime I buy a solo here, I mean, doesn't matter who I get the solo from, doesn't matter which day of the week it is, and I do apologize about the noise. They moving some chairs over here.
No problem.
So any day of the week, any solid provider, it just keeps on producing 42% even after so much traffic. Now the reason for that is because the image creates the congruency. You see, we talk about, in the headline we talk about the little guy. Okay, the little guy that collects 6 figures on the internet. And the image shows just a person, just a random person, raising their hands, like proclaiming themselves champions almost, and saying, yes, I won, I finally achieved it. Right, so it created a very good congruency. In fact, the message is so congruent that I'm not planning to change this page at all, and I'm just going to keep using it. And I hope you don't swipe it. All right, so the next one here is what we wanted to create. It didn't perform as well, and my guess is because of the transparency of the actual headline, because it's white and the background is like white grayish. So we could have done a better job with that, but the congruency message here was achieved by talking about a big group of people that have embraced a certain idea. Okay, this page was created to promote My Online Business Empire by Matt Lloyd, or I think it was My Top Tier Business, whichever one is the hottest right now. And basically, what we created here is the guy bought 500 clicks from us and got 8 sales by funneling people to this squeeze page first and then to the sales page. Right? This is not something that happens every day. Right, I highly doubt that that every Mobi affiliate or MTTB affiliate can brag about those sorts of results, but this page really set the stage up in the good way. Now, obviously, I cannot say that it's just because of the squeeze page that these people got 8 sales, but I honestly want to think, and I honestly believe that it had something to do with it. Okay, I don't have any factual evidence, but fact is, they got 8 sales when we push people through this page first. And like I said, the opt-in rate may have been lower, a little bit lower than usual, but the response was much, much greater. Okay, so this is actually about it when it comes to squeeze pages. Emka, perhaps you wanted to do a short, pause and ask me a question or something?
No, I just wanted to ask whether people are whether you allow people, to model your pages, the ones that you showed, or this is just something that you want to keep for yourself, and that this was just an example, or whether they can create something, like this with the funnel kit.
Well, the thing is that whether or not I allow them to, they are still gonna swipe it. I learned it a long time ago when I was just starting to pick up pace in this industry, and all of a sudden I noticed how the pages and the funnels we were creating, because remember when we were working on funnels together, and you were the guy to do the design, and I was the guy to do the copy. All of a sudden I've seen pages and buttons and graphics pop up around the internet, and people just pretty much just swiping those. I learned to embrace and accept that. So honestly, if you guys have see value in this and you want to swipe these pages, just visit the link that under each of these pages, whichever you want to swipe, and swipe. These have been created with Funnel Kit, therefore I see no reason why they cannot be recreated again using the same software.
We can actually do, if you allow us to do this, we can actually give these guys the export file so they can import this into Funnel Kit, and it would save them from pain of actually having to recreate the pages themselves.
Okay, sure, but remember, guys, that if everyone starts using these pages, they will quickly become saturated and ineffective. So if you are gonna milk it for what it's worth, do it very, very quickly.
Yeah, and what I want to say is that even though that we're going to give you export files for the funnel kit, make sure that you don't blindly copy this, because you can see it happens everywhere. Whenever too many people blindly copy something, it stops being effective. And to take an example, we can take pretty much any big example like Empower Network, My Online Business Empire, pretty much anything. even though that Empower network really creates stunning lead capture pages, their latest Blog Beast launch was, really great. The lead capture pages were gorgeous, but they were quickly became oversaturated just because pretty much everyone and his brother were using the same lead capture pages, and they were driving too much traffic to it. So what I recommend, of course, this is your own free will. You can do whatever you want with these pages, but I would recommend that you would take the idea and just rewatch this hangout. What Igor is talking about creating a congruency, about actually digging into your headline and thinking what will go along with it, and create something of your own, because that way you will have a unique page. Unique pages always outperform. They're performing way better than the pages that you copied from somewhere else. And yeah, this is just what I wanted to say, and use this with caution.
Exactly. I mean, my mentor always tells me that you should not watch the content. You should watch the the psychology behind the thing, or you may want to say you want to watch the trend, right? So in other words, don't necessarily copy this word for word, saying, oh, if I want to talk about a lot of people, then I got to use a background with a lot of people. No, watch the trend, and how what I do and what we do is we try to really match the big idea or the big hook behind the headline to the big idea or image for our background. And if you just make a mission for yourself to do something like that, you will quickly find that have the necessary creative juices to create a monster, literally, because it's not that hard to do when you don't only influence people with the written word, but you also do it with an image. And as they say, one image is worth 1,000 words. Okay. So,
by the way, Igor, I took a liberty of posting this into the Facebook. So basically, I'm just asking, and everyone who's watching this right now live, you can go to the Funnel Kids Facebook group and just answer my question. I asked you, write a headline, any headline at all. You can, just write your existing headline. You can come up with a new headline, or just, something silly, and just write in the comments. Now I'm going to take a few headlines, and if Igor doesn't mind, we will ask him to actually come up with a picture for a headline, so you can see how to do this properly for one or another headline. So this is just gonna be sort of the on the spot thing. So Igor, are you cool with that?
This is like a high wire act right here. Okay, but one condition: the headline needs to be good. Okay, if you just give me a headline that says something like a very quick way to make a bunch of money, that's not gonna work. You'll have to get creative to get me to work for you. Okay?
Exactly. So don't be afraid of sharing, headlines. There are no bad answers. Just not all of them may be framed by Igor, but just I wrote I post in the Facebook group, so just check it out and answer this.
All right. So meanwhile, we can actually go and proceed with the.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to talk about the 5 quick tips to get you more clicks. Now, at the end of this presentation, I'm also going to give you a quick checklist that you can follow in order to get better at producing high converting emails. Okay. So as I just go through these, again, remember you're getting the PDF, so you will have the reference for this. All right. So the first thing you want to talk about is that you got to time your emails perfectly. Now, what I mean by that is this. Not all times of the day will get you the same results. And I actually get this question all the time. Igor, what's the best time to mail to email? Now, my answer to these people would usually go something along the lines of, look, you've got to test for yourself. I'm going to tell you the same thing. However, I'm also going to tell you what's the best time of the day for me. So the best time for me is 4:30 a.m. CST, which means that people in Asia will get my email just before they go to bed, and we all know that people love to check emails before they go to bed. And people in the Western Hemisphere would get this early morning, and they will basically see my email. The first thing they do is check their email. In fact, I had a client who told me that he wakes up 2 in the morning and checks out his iPad, to check his email. So I want to land in the inbox early morning, just before they wake up, and make sure I'm visible at the top of their inbox, so I don't get pushed down by all the other emails. Now, the absolute worst time to mail is 1 to 2 a.m. CST. Now, this is the great time to mail if you want to end, if you want your emails to end up in the deletes wheel, or the nobody cares wheel, if you will. So the best days to mail are actually Tuesday through Thursday, which means if you want to have a launch, if you want to do some sort of a sequence, if you want to literally get people to pay attention, to get on a webinar, or to do anything, all right, you want to do it Tuesday through Thursday. Now, Emka can do it Tuesday through Thursday because my schedule doesn't allow that. So he had to settle for a Friday. But he mailed you about this sometime within these days, right? So just to kind of reaffirm you guys that these days are best if you want to get people to take action. Now, this doesn't mean necessarily that weekends are bad. Right, so you can and you should use weekends to mail low dollar and lead generation offers, and that's only because a lot of marketers, I wouldn't say most, but a lot of marketers take breaks on weekends. They actually don't even touch the computer, which is, I know how they do it because I'm always behind a computer, but they don't. And so this gives you advantage because there's less competition on the weekend in the inbox. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is shorter emails get higher CTR. Okay, that's just a fact. No matter how hard I tried, no matter how creative I've got at writing a long email, I just could not get it to perform better than a quick, short email that gets me the clicks. So it's just a rule of thumb that a short email will always get the click. Now, you obviously don't want to go too short, so you want to keep it at 4 to 5 paragraphs. It's the sweet spot. And you also don't want to mail an email that consists only of 1 or 2 lines, because that is likely to get you trapped in the spam folder, right? So you have to balance between having like a very, very long email and a very, very short one. So remember that. Now, the third thing I wanted to talk about.
Igor, can I quickly interrupt? We have quite a few headlines, like 3 of them, so.
Okay, well, let me finish the email science.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So the third thing I want to talk about, and I appreciate you guys taking action, by the way. All right, I really appreciate it. This is the first hangout I'm doing, and I'm very proud that people actually listen. So the third thing is the perfect email structure. What I mean by that is that you want to deliver a solid message. You don't necessarily want to get creative. So if you think you gotta write ridiculous stories or like a comic book to get people to click on an email, that is not true. People always want a very solid, to the point message that lets them understand what are they gonna get if they click that email. Okay, so your opening sentence, knowing that, is your second headline, because just getting them to open, right, just getting them curious enough to open the email doesn't mean that they're gonna click that link. They're still very skeptical. Therefore, you use your opening sentence of the email as your second headline, giving them a reason to read the email. And it's easily done by a very specific technique called why because. Right? So what you want to do is you want to give a sort of a second headline, then say why, and answer that question with because. Why you want to do that? Well, because that allows you to get people into your story and into your email like a greased slide. Okay? And I just did it with you, and I hope you paid attention. Otherwise, you just rewatch the recording and pay attention. But seriously, I mean, you really want to go ahead and treat your second headline as, your second, oh man, I'm confused. You really want to treat your opening sentence as your second headline. Again, why? Because you got it, because Igor says so. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to definitely tell stories. Not only that, you want to be congruent in your story and in your message towards your squeeze page and towards the offer you're promoting. So in other words, if you're promoting some sort of a product that talks about selling stuff on eBay, right, your email has to be talking about how eBay is the greatest thing ever, or how eBay has very little competition in very specific niches, and that if they click that link, they're going to find out what those niches are, right? So you got to be congruent with your story and with your message towards the opt-in page or the offer or the sales letter or the video or the Google Hangout you are promoting, right? So, for example, what we did today, when we started the Hangout and you expected non-deadly copywriting sense, and we gave you the very specific tricks and tips on how to increase your opt-in rates and email CDR, that is not congruent. Now, we didn't intend for that to happen, but this is something you don't want to do. Now, you also want to use bullets, by the way, and it's true for copywriting just as it is, for sales page copywriting, just as it is for email. You don't necessarily need to use the actual bullet points, the bullets that you create in Word documents, but you can just use like 1, 2, 3, or dashes, or dot dot dots, and you just create an environment for a bullet where you got you kind of burst them in threes. So you got 3 bullets or 6 bullets or 9 bullets, but get some bullets because bullets will be read almost by every single person who opens up that email. In fact, bullet points are by far the most readable part besides the headline in a sales letter, which is really cool because if you know that, that's a big advantage to you versus your competition. Now, not to be forgotten, you always have to give them a reason why they need to click, because curiosity alone is never enough. So you need to say stuff such as, click here to discover benefit, click here, and not to be left behind about Google's latest algorithm or whatever. So they always need a reason to click, and we're going to discuss those reasons in just 1 minute. Now, another thing, clear call to action. Now, when it comes to copywriting, what I usually tell my clients when they write their first sales copy, I tell them, give me the money. Like, you got to tell the client that they need to give you some money, which is really call to action in the sales page. Now, in your email, the call to action is based around getting the click. So you got to tell them, you got to click right here. And you got to like hyperlink the thing. You got to make it big enough so for them to see it. And the words such as click here to continue, or click here to get the whatever, or click here to avoid big scary thing, they have to be there, and it has to be clear as day for them to see it. And last but not least is the PS, which you can always use as a brief reminder about the general idea of the email. So if the idea of the email was that eBay is better than Amazon, the PS can be just about that and have another call to action for them to check out whatever you're promoting. Now, I'm sorry, by the way, I think, yeah, there was supposed to be another one, which I think I've missed. So it's actually 4 quick tips to get more clicks, not 5. I apologize. Like you can tell, I was preparing this presentation in a hurry, I guess.
This reminded me of a prank that you can pull off. Is actually get 5 pigs and paint 1, 2, 3, and 5 on their backs. Get a 4 pigs and paint these 4 numbers on them and release them in a Walmart. And then you just watch the security guards looking for the pig number 4. So the same thing happened with the headlines. It's like the headline number 4 is missing.
Yeah, that's evil stuff. I mean, it's actually pretty funny. Is there like a video of that on YouTube or something?
I don't really remember where I got this prank. It was like I read about it like a few weeks ago, and it just kind of popped into my mind when I thought when I saw 1, 2, 3, and 5 say about the email tips.
Well, I assure you this wasn't the case. I was honestly trying to give you a lot of value here, and again, I apologize. So number 4, not number 5, number 4 is you want to definitely use images. Now this trick alone can increase your open rates by as much as 120%. The reason is simple. Quite recently, Gmail announced that they are now allowing default image displays. Now this is not only going to allow you to track your open rates much better, this also is going to allow you to get more clicks because you can use that to your advantage. In fact, you almost want to include an image with every single one of your emails, okay? And there's this myth that says that including an image lowers deliverability. Well, I assure you it does not. In fact, Google has absolutely, or not Google, I mean the ISPs and like Gmail and Yahoo and whatnot, they have no problems with images. They encourage images because people who, friends and relatives who email each other back and forth, they always include images, sharing, whatever. But of course, if you use an image as an email, right? So your entire email is just one image. That will definitely hurt your deliverability. Now, the way to increase your open rates by a country mile is to simply use an image that has a call to action on it, or better yet, use a disguised image as a video. So what you do is, if you promote a page that has a video on it, all you need to do is just get on the page with that video, pause the video, and then screenshot the video.
and then you just include that screenshot as a clickable image in your email, and people just cannot resist but to click that. They just can't resist but click on that, darn play button. Especially if it's a YouTube video, then it's real easy. So you definitely want to keep that in mind next time you email your list. Now,
Actually, the images part is very awesome. I didn't really know that the Gmail announced that the images are on by default. So this is definitely what I'm going to try this evening with my email list, because especially the part with image that has got a call to action. I actually had something. I started using images just recently, and I didn't know. I didn't. It was a brand new list, so I couldn't figure it out whether I got the response. The response was better because of I used images or because it was a new list. So now I think it was because of I used images. So I will definitely give it a few more shots to see whether I can squeeze even more CTR from my emails.
cool. Well, see, glad I could help. So, in the last-minute email checklist, as promised, here's the things you gotta go through before you blast the email to make sure it is congruent with the email tips I've just given you. Okay, so very simple stuff. Is it positive or negative to the landing page? So this means that the link I'm promoting, do I build up the value of that link? Am I congruent with the message? Okay. Now, does the landing page deliver on the promise? So whenever I promise in the email, if they hit that landing page and doesn't really deliver, that creates a bad feeling. Kind of gives your prospects a bad taste in their mouth, almost. So you don't want to do that, because that will generate some bad karma. Are there any conflicts in the message? Is everything congruent? Which means that, like I said, if you promote an eBay-related product, don't send people to an Amazon sales page. And if the letter or the video you're promoting talks about how Amazon is dead and is about to go, to go bust, your email has to talk about something like that in order to be congruent. And of course, is the call to action clear as day, right? Basically, you cannot rely on people knowing exactly what's going on, and therefore you have to be very, very clear as to regarding what you want them to do. Now, before we move on to the to the yeah, I know where the fifth one went. I know what happened to the number 4. Number 4 was
Pick
the
number 4.
specifics. Yeah, the number 4 was the specific call to action, right? And there's only 3 types of call to actions you can create in an email. And this, guys, you should write down, because this is not in the presentation. I will add this later before I give it to Emka, but right now you want to write this down. There's logic, there's scarcity, and there's pleasure, right? So you have to have anywhere from 3 to 4 calls to action in your email. The first one being benefit oriented, the second one being scarcity oriented, and the last one, or the third one, being logic oriented. And then you can also have one in the PS, also scarcity oriented. The reason for that is because scarcity call to action will always outperform any other, because that's just how human brain works. We're more prone to take action to avoid something or to get out of a painful situation than we are to get a pleasurable situation. So this was number 4. That's why it's missing. But I knew I had it there. So Emka, let's work on some headlines.
On the headlines, sure. Okay, so the first headline was by Rick, and Rick's headline says, Who else wants the natural way to ease shingles pain? And probably I pronounced this right. Shingles are, if I understand it correctly, sort of the a skin disease.
Okay.
It's like a really bad rash.
So can you read the headline again?
Who else wants the natural way to ease shingles pain?
Shingles pain. Okay, so the first thing I would do, that's how I actually work on these pages. I'm gonna go to Google Images. That's the website I use to get images. You can always get stock images, but who wants to spend money on that stuff, right? So shingles. Let's see what that brings us up. All right, cool. Well, you definitely don't want to use this sort of image on a squeeze page, right?
Yeah, this is yeah. It looks really bad. It's like I've
Yeah,
said.
you
It's
definitely don't
really
want to have this sort of stuff on your squeeze page. So let's see what we got.
when I was thinking about this headline, I was thinking about it's like sort of the an image of the man relieved. It's like that his pain is cured. It's like he's calm now. You can see that he was kind of stressed out, but now he's calm. So sort of that image. Am I getting the idea right?
Well, that is one angle. Obviously, there's no right and wrong answer. But what I want to do is I want to include a doctor. So perhaps this image would be okay, but I want to include a male doctor for some reason. That's what my gut tells me. So we're talking about a cure towards this disease, right? So this little thing, where this nurse holds it, right? I mean, it kind of represents a cure. Because whenever people think about a cure, they think of a magic pill, they think of this little tube that holds some sort of like blue liquid in that or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Doctor Hero.
We have quite a few more, headlines. So basically, I think everyone got the idea, what sort of the image, it would look really cool on this headline
Well,
because,
we can do a few more, but I would just want to find one more cool one. Hold on.
okay. Because like I've said, there are so many angles, and if you guys have anyone from your environment that you can consult with, that you can, discuss with, two heads are always better than one. So always make sure that you show your squeeze pages or, anything, pretty much anything that you do to, a second guy, for example, a spouse, your wife, your husband, your kids, whatever, just ask whether this looks good and just tell
Does
them
this
that,
make sense, right? Your
yeah, whether
goal
this makes
is
sense.
to
Make sure that you
simplify.
tell them that they can tell you exactly how it looks. They don't need to sugarcoat it because that's why you won't be getting valuable feedback. So obviously don't show it to your mom because she will always support you. So just make sure that the headlines and that the background image is congruent, like Igor said.
Exactly. What you're looking to achieve really is simplicity, a simplicity of an idea, right? So if they take just one glance over your page, they get it. So that's why, for example, I also wanted to show you this image of a woman scientist holding some sort of a tube again, right? Because it's like, oh, they found a cure. So with regards to that disease, this is the angle. You say who else wants to get rid of this stuff, and your image supports that by saying, oh, here is cure to what you have. So this is the point.
Got it.
So
So
let's do another
there
one.
you go. So that was for the headline number one. Now we have a headline from Ryan, and he is asking, for the headline which picture would fit, and the headline is, "Would you like to get more fans on Facebook?"
Would you like to get more fans on Facebook? Well, I don't necessarily feel like getting more fans on Facebook is a good enough benefit to entice people. You see, you got to ask yourself, Ryan, what's the purpose of them getting more fans on Facebook? Is that selling the page? Is that promoting an affiliate offer? Is that making money in a very tiny niche? So there's a lot of wiggle room there, and the actual benefit isn't really a benefit; it's a feature. It's like if I ask Emka, "Hey Emka, do you wanna buy an expensive pair of shoes?" Right? It's not a benefit. But if I ask Emka, "Hey Emka, would you like to get the same pair of shoes that Michael Jordan used to wear when he played Chicago Bulls in '97? That goes for $2,000 at the local Pennsylvania auction, whatever." Right? So you see how I built up the value of whatever is I'm giving to him. So what I would ask you to do, Ryan, is to rewrite this headline with the bigger, bolder benefit.
Got it. So, yeah, so there you go for the headline. If you would rewrite it, then you can start thinking about about the background image. So this is the importance when Igor was talking about about bringing the benefit, and I mentioned this in Final Cut pre-launch videos too. Think about the main benefit that you are bringing to your subscribers. And there is actually a very at the beginning it's really difficult to understand what is feature, what is benefit, but you can as the more times you do this, the better you'll get. So we have few more headlines. Igor, do you want to continue with them?
Yeah, sure.
So the Brandon has got a headline saying single mom discovers weird method to lose weight without diet or exercise.
Oh, nice one. Okay, cool. Then this one's actually pretty simple because it's a pretty common thing in the weight loss industry. All I want to do is here's the perfect image for that. Okay, an image of a red pill that a woman with sort of like cute face characteristics takes, right? The reason I want to choose that because, like I said, people want magic bullets. People want cures. People want, instant gratification. They want to have, they want to be fat today, take a pill, wake up in the morning being skinny. This is exactly the kind of message you want to convey if you want to get the most people possible to share their email address to find out.
I just have an idea. Whether if we would take this, this image that you showed, and we have a woman just putting a pill into her mouth. But what if we would ask for, let's say for example, a sticker with a question mark, so you can't really see what she's putting in the mouth, and it's just like a question mark. So do you think that would perform better?
Actually, if you want to use some sort of blurred out or blacked out thing, you don't necessarily want to use a blacking out of a pill, because it's obvious that she can only put so many things into her mouth. A pill, a needle, I don't know, whatever people put in mouth. But you can certainly have her hold some sort of a little box with a big question mark on it, right? And having like almost shiny light, like divine light coming out of the box. Obviously, you'll have to create this image, but I'm just working with with whatever we got here. So this is the image that kind of pops to mind.
Okay, so we have a few more. Now Wilfred is asking, he has got a headline, proven software reveals the secrets of getting unstoppable traffic to your website. And he wants to know whether the headline sucks or not.
Okay, well, in one way the headline isn't really on par here, is that a software cannot be proven and a software cannot reveal. Right, so a person can reveal something, but a software cannot. And also being proven, a method can be proven, a technique can be proven, but a software, well, it's not necessarily proven. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it's the best headline you can come up with. But if we're talking about software getting traffic, you see, people have seen this so many times that you have to almost create another interesting hook to that. You almost like imply there is some sort of a backstory. So I'm struggling to do something off the top of my head, but maybe it has to do something with its creator, because I remember there was a product about a year ago where there was an ex-PayPal employee who created some sort of software that did some sort of a thing. And so that was a huge success for the guy because he's an ex-PayPal employee, right? So PayPal is the people who kind of hold on to a lot of the money and a lot of the transactions that are going on daily online and on eBay. And so he was working for them. So he probably knows something, He probably could code something that hacks into the algorithm or whatever. But the interesting hook to that headline is really not the software. It's the guy who used to work for PayPal. Make sense?
Yeah. And now we have a Matthew asking, there are just two more headlines here. So Matthew is asking, the secret to finally getting your most important stuff done profitably in 2014.
All right. That's a very interesting headline. Most important stuff. Well, most important stuff is very generic. So you can say something like most profitable stuff, or most, the stuff that makes you the most money, or that sort of thing, right? So let's just see what we get for productivity. Your most important stuff done, right?
Yeah, the usual graphics show up. The profits, the success curves, etc.
Okay, but then you think about if I do get all of my stuff done, right? Um, that gives me like peace of mind, and maybe I'm not typing peace, right?
What if we have something like a to-do list with a lot of cross-style things?
Yes, that can work. I'm thinking more in a way of like this, see meditation. It's
Hmm.
it implies Zen, right? So whenever you had like if you remember the feeling of getting everything in your to-do list done, it's like you sit back and there's nothing else going on. It's like you don't check your phone, you don't check your email. It's like everything is done and you're so peaceful inside. So it's almost like you want to achieve that Zen that you've been missing because you're always hectically trying to do stuff on your to-do list, right? But if we do talk about to-do lists here,
Actually, I
actually,
think this picture of the Zen, total, kind of peace, in the mind, this image will actually work better than actually the to-do list because I think the to-do list itself, when they will see again a huge to-do list with a lot of things crossed out, and it's like they will feel that this is just me thinking from top of my head. They'll feel that their to-do list is not anywhere like like this one. And to be honest, they don't even have a to-do list yet. So that's the first thing on their to-do list. Actually, do a to-do list, and it's just kind of reminds them of the problem, and it becomes very painful. So I think Zen is actually really good.
well, yeah, that's why I thought that Zen would be great because you're implying the end result here, right? You are showing the big benefit of getting the peace of mind you're looking for. However, this can easily be split tested versus something like that. Something like this where instead of a to-do list, the guy has just everything on it. Just the word everything, and a cartoon face of a person who is very troubled, which is the state that the target prospect is in right now. So that implies empathy, right? That implies that you understand what's going on in your prospect's head. Now, which one of these is going to be more powerful? It's hard to predict, so I would test. I would most definitely go ahead and test both.
Now, Ryan upgraded his headline, and from going from would you like to get more fans on Facebook, he went to how much money could you make with 1 million Facebook fans?
Oh, nice. Okay, that's a good question. Okay, 1 million Facebook fans, huh?
Whenever I think about 1 million something, when it's not related to money, I'm always thinking about that popular website, 1millionpixels.com, or it was, the $1 million homepage.com. There were a bunch of ads, bunch of pixel ads on the website.
Well, what I'm looking for here, and again, I'm just going with my gut here, with whatever I feel, should be working, based on experience. And obviously, this doesn't mean I'm right. I'm just going with my hunches, right? What I'm going for is a cheering crowd, because when you think I got 1 million fans, it's not just about the money. It's also about, oh, I got 1 million people who somehow, in some way, respect me and want to be my friend. And this is actually a very powerful feeling for a human being. So an image such as this one, where you got a bunch of people raising hands in the air and clapping, is a good one. And maybe even something as an image of a stadium.
What if you would have an image of, for example, a guy standing on the stage and there are like a lot of people, in front of him, or a guy, it's like on a circle stage and all guys are, around him. It's kind of, he's just like one leader and everybody's just following him and there are, bunch of guys looking at him. It's like you are the center of the world, something like that.
Okay.
The stadium actually looks really cool.
Well, stadium does look cool, but I guess what we want to achieve is we want to find a picture, and I'm not sure if we will be able to find it right now, where there's just one person standing in the middle of that stadium, and all the other people are applauding him or just cheering for him and stuff like that. You know?
Probably we need to search for something like, I'm not sure how to actually put it in words, in a search terms, but when the guy is singing the, what you call
National anthem. Yeah.
Yeah, national anthems. When he's saying the national anthems. And maybe even when the stadiums the lights are turned off, and the only guy is just lit up. So.
All right, let's see what we got over here.
Probably you can find definitely something like this, and I believe that everyone is getting the idea where we are heading. So, yeah, and that's pretty much it for the headlines that we had. Now, about your presentation, do you have something more in that presentation that you've prepared?
Well, actually, yeah, there's one more thing that I wanted to kind of show you guys, and that is I prepared a special gift for you, which is located at thenewkingofinternetmarketing.com/swipe file, and this is where you're going to find 11 swipe and deploy email subject lines and the detailed explanation of the psychology behind why they work. And you're free to swipe these as you wish, because I've only given you the subject lines, not the actual emails. So you got room to be creative with the guidelines and the checklists I've given you on this call. Now, if you got any questions about anything, you can drop me an email at Igor at igorsolowitz.com. You can I'm welcome you to add me as a friend at facebook.com/Igor helps you succeed. And if you want to get some traffic or get some solo related advice, you can go to igorsolowitz.com. And I'm open for any questions that you got.
I can just say that Igor's traffic is always, probably the best traffic around here. So if you're looking for, for proven to work traffic for your funnel kit campaigns, for your businesses that you run, he is the guy that you want to contact. Now, this presentation, I hope you've learned a lot. Now, I was just kind of correcting the squeeze pages that we get in the support. Everybody just was sending me questions. Sometimes I get in support when people ask whether the squeeze page looks good or not, and we had so many people with not congruent headlines and background images. And I really hope that during this presentation you really learned how you need to nail the benefit and actually how you need to find that perfect background image. And I won't see like beach background squeeze pages anymore, because to be honest, that really looks boring, and you're just losing, hundreds of potential subscribers on your.
Well, you can use it in a very successful way. I had one client of mine who used it by having a headline that said, "Welcome to your new office," and it was basically not a beach, but it was like sort of like a condo that was on water, with a laptop somewhere on the deck. So that's a nice little idea, I think. So any image can be used. It's just if you just simply slap a headline and just get the basic, image of a beach, then it doesn't quite work anymore, right? It's been overused, it's been saturated, it's been beaten to death, and you have to always keep finding the way of how you saying the same thing in a different way.
Exactly. So creativity is your only limit. So you don't have any limits in internet marketing. So if you're creative enough, if you will use that mask between your ears, you'll definitely create something outstanding, and you'll have your business just flourishing and up and running like never before. So if you have any questions, Igor just specified the contact details. You can add him on Facebook. He's always sharing a lot of cool tips and tricks on his Facebook profile, so you'll get a lot of bunch of good stuff on your timeline instead of just regular same old cat and cat memes and videos. So you're actually gonna get some content from him. and just he has got an email address. If you have any questions what we were talking about today, drop him and
Oh, I just got a message from Matthew Newham. He said it was a great hangout. How cool is that? Thank you, Matthew.
So you're already getting the responses. So, and Matthew, he got you a headline with the most important stuff to do profitably in 2014. So just to remind. And if you want to buy some traffic, just visit IgorSoloAds.com. And I want to thank you, Igor, for attending this hangout, for hanging out with me, like we used to do a lot back in the day. Me and Igor just used to work we were crazy. We were used to work 10 hours a day.
There was a time when my wife would step into the room and give me that look, and I was like, "What do you want?" And I was with you on the phone, and she would get jealous. She would literally get jealous of me spending more time with you than I was spending with her because we were working on all these funnels. So it was a good time.
From the morning until the moon, and every single day, just on a Skype calls, just doing things. So, good times, really good times. It was, it was really good experience, and it was a real pleasure to hang out with you again today. So, thanks for hanging out, and thanks for attending this as a beginner in Hangouts, just like I am. And hopefully everything turned out well. And this is gonna get recorded and put on YouTube, so you can just rewatch this later. This is going to be available only for the members of FunnelKit. I'm not sharing this with anyone. You guys, you have exclusive rights, and this is gonna get more off.
Exclusive rights for profiting with this content.
Yeah, and this is gonna get I'm gonna do this occasionally. I'm gonna invite experts like Igor to talk about these things, about these eye-opening things that are that are not shared anywhere else, because I bet that everybody, it's kind of those basic things that you can actually reverse engineer, or you can kind of figure out on yourself, but it really takes time. Now with the backgrounds, with the background images going congruent, I bet that neither of you that's watching this video or this record actually got this up until such science like Igor did. So use this information.
I got another message from Will.
And again, a great hangout. So yeah, thanks for being with us. Thanks guys who was watching this live. And I'm gonna post a hangout link in a Facebook. So Igor, do you have any last words and kind of last sentence?
Well, yeah, I urge you guys to experiment. I got actually another message from Joseph. Nice. So I'm gonna stop bragging about how many friends I got now. So basically, is this. For one, I thank you very much for inviting me and giving me the pleasure of being the very first guest expert to come and talk to your folks. And I honestly hope that you guys will implement at least some of it. I don't expect you to implement everything, but at least some of it. And taking away from this call is really one thing: experiment. Okay, don't be afraid to lose some money on some testing. Don't be afraid to test new strategies, new techniques. And the only reason why I became an expert, right? The only reason why I know what converts and what doesn't, because I tried so many different approaches. I remember we even used a naked woman on the background. Back when we were just starting out with these backgrounds, we got so many complaints. I mean, we thought we were gonna kill it, but turns out people don't like it. So, we just tested everything, and you just keep testing. It's a nature of the game, and I'm sure you've heard it from Frank Kern and Ryan Dice and Perry Belcher and whatever. But you just got to keep testing and see what works for you. Because I can give you these nuggets all day long, and you can look into my business, but it doesn't guarantee that when you duplicate what I've got, you're going to get the same awesome results. So the only way to get awesome results is to keep on tweaking until you hit that something. And remember this. Remember to tweak outside the box. If you test 2 different pages, test completely different approaches. Like if you test same background, different headline, make sure that the headline doesn't differ by just a word, right? Make sure it differs by a lot of different elements, such as earning claims or ideas or simplicity, whatever. So step out of your shell is what I'm trying to say. Just test it, step out of your shell, and go ballsy. Be ballsy about your business.
Yeah, so thanks again for hanging out with us. And make sure guys that you rewatch this because I bet that you've kind of missed a lot of golden nuggets and the second time you rewatch this, you'll find them and you will apply them. Now, don't be one of those 98% that watch stuff and just leave it hanging on their hard drive or in the internet and they never apply it. Be one of those 2% that actually do something about it. And we have a weekend ahead of us. I know that Christmas shopping is all upon us and we need to get things done, but I bet that you can spend like an extra 30 minutes or 1 hour before you go to bed, or you can wake up early this weekend and actually implement a few things that we've mentioned here and see that this really takes your business to the higher level. So implement as much as you can, just learn from this. And thanks for being with us. Thanks for hanging out. It was a real pleasure, and I will see you in more hangouts like this. So Emka and Igor signing off.
Bye bye.